Welcome everybody. Today we are here with James, and James has got an amazing story that he is willing to share with us today. Remember everybody, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell below. There is a lot of people out there that are just getting exposed to hair loss content that first don't even know about hair systems and are looking for answers, and every time that you do one of those actions that helps them see it. About 70% of the people that are watching this haven't subscribed. What is going on, James? How you doing today?
Hi, Jake. Yeah, very well, thanks. How are you?
I am so good. It's a little bit earlier than it is there, and I was just telling you before we got on the call, I just woke up. I literally just rose out of the bed, and here I am. So I'm good to go, man. I'm fresh. I'm ready to kick it.
Right. Good.
Good. Well, James, so you are wearing a hair system now. You've been wearing it for about a month, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really want to talk about that. I want to talk about, some of the things that you've learned, both on the mindset and maybe hear a little bit about your unit. But it sounded like you really wanted to go back and kind of tell us your origin story and tell us how you got to this point.
Yeah, right. So I started losing my hair at roughly the age of 25.
How long ago was that?
10 years ago.
Okay, now everybody knows how old you are.
Yeah. Just cut that out of the recording. So I started losing about 10 years ago. And for the first couple of years, I started noticing waking up and there'd be hair on the pillow. Not an awful lot, but it would happen on a daily basis. And I'd come in and go in the shower and I'd have hair on my hands after I wash my hair. And it was just a very gradual process. But because of that, I didn't really notice it get to a stage where I thought I had to do something about it, or I didn't really know what options were available to me then. So about 3 or 4 years later, I started using Rogaine, or we call it Regain in the UK, minoxidil.
Yeah.
And I was the kind of third of people that it kept my current hair, but it didn't grow anything back.
Yep.
Which was good in a way because, I felt like I was using it for probably about 8-9 months. And in fact, it might have been a bit longer than that. But it wasn't adding anything to my hair. So I still had the same issue. And I just thought to myself, it was really starting to affect my confidence. So in that period of time, I'd lost a lot of weight and I'd focused a lot more on my health and well-being for myself more than anything else. And I felt like my body was going in one direction and my mindset and everything like that was linked to that, which was great. But I was looking in the mirror every day and it was like maybe not that noticeable for everyone else, but for me, it was a big thing. So I thought to myself, I had to do something about that. And after using minoxidil for a while, I didn't really get any side effects, but for me, it wasn't adding to, helping me in my confidence in any way. So that's when I started looking down the route of things like hair transplants, hair systems. And for me, the hair system was the right way to go for all the reasons you've explained in other videos. The fact that a hair transplant isn't instant. You don't necessarily get guaranteed results with it. And for me and my lifestyle, I thought that a hair system would be a good way to kind of get into making myself feel better from a confidence perspective much quicker. And I wouldn't have also the added expense of flying somewhere else to get it done and having to wait and having to see if it would actually work. With this, it's kind of an instant, and I'm really happy with it. It's great.
Well, that's amazing. That was also extremely succinct. Thank you everybody for watching. No, so
Yeah, bye.
well, it sounds like you've been on this journey before getting a hair system, but just kind of self-improvement for a while now.
Yeah, and it's really important to me that if I'm feeling good about myself, I feel good about my whole self. And I guess I was just disappointed that I'd done really well on my well-being, my health and my mental well-being, but that part, the bit that everyone sees up top, it didn't look good to me. And as I said to you before, some people are, oh, your hair's fine, there's nothing wrong with your hair, because they're saying it from a friend or a family supportive perspective to say, you're fine the way you are, you don't need to change or whatever. But inside, if you know yourself that you that something's not right with that and you want to change it, then you should feel free to do that. And that's why moving into kind of hair systems, for me, I did a lot of research before I started. You know, I must have been about 6 to 8 months of research before I took the plunge with it. And I think that's important. But I got to the point at the end of that 6 months where I was wearing a baseball cap every day, and I was wondering what I was going to wear, and and how to hide it. And I went on holiday just before I had it done, and it was sunny, and I was worried about my head shining in the light and all that kind of stuff that's associated with it. Whereas now I know that I can sit under a spotlight in a restaurant, or I can go outside. I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's great. It really is. It's just amazing thing for me personally. It's been great.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome. That you've been. This is a holistic journey for you. I mean, you mentioned weight loss, which you kind of skimmed over, but I actually kind of want to bring that up as like a little sidebar. That's a really transformative life event. And you said, how much did you lose?
10 stone.
10 stone. So that's is that what, 80 pounds? Or
nearly 100 pounds, I think, in total. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, wait, hold up. 10 stones. 10 stones, I got the conversion. That's 140 pounds out there.
Oh, there you go then.
Which
I don't do pounds.
Which is like the size of like a 5'6", 5'7" woman that's like muscular. That's a significant. So you're telling me that this wasn't all muscle that you lost?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it was
a long journey, and it was not something that I did on a crash diet. I exercised. I took up running, and it was just something that had events in my life that that made me change my perception of how I was living my life, and that really kick-started me into the weight loss side of things. So I've still got a way to go. I'm not, in my mind, perfect, but then I think for a lot of people, they look at themselves and they think there's always something to improve. But I think as a whole person as I am now, I'm much more confident. I'm much more happy with myself. And the hair system just adds to that.
So I wouldn't be a good interviewer if I didn't ask, what was the life event that really like kicked all of this off for you?
Yeah, well, I had a couple all at one time, really. So my mum was diagnosed with cancer, and she sadly died. And at the same time, I was made redundant from my job, and the role was basically traveling around the country in a kind of like an engineering capacity. So I'd be sitting down a lot of the time. I'd be eating rubbish food. And a lot of my time would be either sat behind a steering wheel or sat behind a desk. And when, my mum died and that kind of stuff happened, and my job changed, and I went into a different role, which was traveling again, but it was across the world rather than just in the UK. I had access to going to the gym, and sitting on a plane for hours and hours, I knew was not going to be healthy for me. So I had to do something about that. And I wanted to feel comfortable in myself and confident. And also, although I'm still, 10 years older than 25, I still feel relatively young, and I still want to invest the time in that. And I want to get as much out of my life as possible. And so my mum died when she was 50. So I don't want to be in that same situation, and I might not have any control over that, but at least I'm doing what I can and say that I can do, doing what I can now.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's a journey, man. And I guess the reason why I'm kind of honing in here for those that are watching at home and they're listening and they're like, well, he's not talking about hair systems. Well, part of my story is I lost around 80 pounds, and the psychological journey that you have to go through to improve yourself, and it's a holistic thing, and it affects every single aspect of your life. I don't think that they're discrete packages that you can necessarily separate when you kind of go on that journey. You don't really accept anything less than the best for yourself, and you start like seeking and destroying these parts of yourself that no longer serve you and are holding you back. So I mean, to me, it sounds like you're doing that in a couple different respects. in your journey and the different choices that you're making, and I'm sure it's affecting many different parts of your life.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've got 2 daughters and a partner, and I want to feel like I'm there for them as much as possible. We enjoy going out and exercising. And one thing for me to kind of tie it back into the hair system side was, you know, if I go to the gym, if I go out running, we decide to go for a weekend away, which involves lots of walking or hiking and stuff that I'm going to get hot and sweaty, is this right for me? You know, is it just going to slide off my head? So that's why I did a lot of research about it, because what I didn't want to do is get my hopes up, stick it on my head, and then, you know, be disappointed ultimately. But
so how has that gone for you?
It's been fine. I've as you've said before, like working out, and when you walk, you know, doing walking or running or whatever, you do notice that the sweat kind of comes here rather than through here, which is a bit weird. It's just something that you kind of got to deal with. And as I said to you before the video, I've been doing all of my maintenance and kind of taking it off and refitting myself, which has been good for me because I understand how the system works. I understand how to keep on top of it and it in good condition and for it to last as long as possible. So yes, there are some cons to it, but the pros for me are massively outweigh that. So.
Well, I mean, you look great. Not that my opinion matters, or really anybody that's watching matters. That's how you feel about yourself, as you've previously stated. But you do look amazing. You know, you sent me some pictures before that I'm looking at right now, and I mean, the difference is truly, you know, staggering. And I'll put these up for people to see as we're watching this right here. But I mean, I totally get it. You look, you know, very confident, and it's a significant difference. So I'm sure everybody out there is curious because, you know, you look great and people always want to know what it is that you're doing and wearing and all that kind of stuff. So what kind of system are you wearing? Yeah,
so I've got a 0.5 poly base.
Okay.
And it's 100% poly all the way over. I originally got a match with my hair on the sides because I've got quite thick sides. But what I was finding was, I was over the past couple of months, I've been getting a lot more grey on my side. So I thought to myself, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just get a Just for Men kit and I'll dye my sides, get rid of the greys, and then that'll be great. Well, I did that and then refitted my system, and my system looked like it, you know, the hair was just not matching and you could tell the difference between the two. So I got in touch with the guy who does all my fitting, you know, ordering all my units and stuff. And I said to him, look, I've got this bit of a problem now. How do I fix this? And he basically just said, look, you can dye it, but he told me how to do it properly, and it's come out really well. So, you know, there's no real, you can't really see any difference between the two hair. There's a bit of grey hair there, but in terms of the system itself and the blending in the sides, it's really good. I don't, if you look up here, you can see where I've got the poly system here. And that's got a bit darker since I've dyed the system, obviously, because I guess it kind of seeps into the poly. But because I wear my hair like this anyway, it doesn't really make a difference. And if I was going to have my hair up, I'd maybe consider something like a thin skin or something where I could have that and have that, like, kind of, you could see the roots coming through the scalp, that kind of effect.
Sure.
And the hair itself is really good. I've hardly had any loss, but I think that's down to the fact that I'm quite careful with it. And I've been using products that don't have any parabens or sulfates in them. And that's really important from the research that I've had and looked at, just to keep it in tip-top condition. Conditioning every other day, and then I spray it, obviously conditioner spray every day. And I also try not put too much product in it, because if it gets like clogged with stuff and you don't want to wash it, then it looks crap. So, you know, you've got to, it's just trial and error. But yeah, it's a great system. It's really comfortable. I get a bit itchy after about a week, which is when I know my hair's growing back. So then I do a refit. But it's just a case of practicing and knowing what your body's telling you, and if you can feel the glue coming off.
Sure.
And in terms of adhesive, I have a mixture of glue, Ghost Bond, and tape itself on some areas of it, just to make sure that it's on and it's not going to go anywhere.
Make sure this puppy is stuck on there, huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's good. So, how has this been for you and your partner, and depending on the age of your daughters, how have they reacted to all this?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got it done, I walked in the front door and they were just like jaws on the floor. Like, I looked at photos of me before and now, and I don't like giving myself compliments, but I was like, man, I look so much better. Like, it just takes years off you. And I think if I'd have kept on going the way I did, I would have just shaved all my hair off and maybe not been that happy about it. But my two girls are of an age where they give their opinions, and they're fine with it. What was important for me is that I told everyone that I was doing it, rather than I just kept it a secret and turned up one day and went, surprise, this is oh, you didn't know about my hair. So everyone knew about it, all my family and friends knew. So once I did it, everyone was keen to see it. And they were already complimentary about it and said how good it looked, and it wasn't a massive surprise for them then, because they knew it was coming. But everyone's been really supportive about it and wanting to know stuff like, well, how does it stick on your head? Like,
yeah,
do you get sweaty? Does it itch? Will it fall off? Is it like one of those old kind of toupees that flap in the wind? That kind of thing. Yeah, everyone's really interested about it. I've had no negativity about it at all.
So that's really amazing, and I think that, well, instead of telling everybody out there why I think it is and my grand theories, why do you think that is that you have not had any negative reactions? Why have you only had positive reactions so far?
Well, for the people that know I've had it done, they'll look at it and go, well, it doesn't look rubbish. So it's obviously worth the technology that's gone into making these hair systems, makes it very realistic. And for the people that don't know, for example, doing the school drop-off with the kids, you'll see some parents that you've not seen, because we've been in lockdown in the UK, like in America, and we've not seen or been on the playground for like 6 months. So in that time, I've gone from where I was before to now, and people have looked and gone, wow, I love your hair. Like, I like it when it's grown out. I like the way you've grown your hair out. And it's like, okay, great, thanks. Like, and some people I'll happily tell, and other people that I don't know, I won't go into so much information, but my theory is that because it looks so, hair systems in general, they are made for a purpose, and they're so good nowadays. Like, you don't have to worry about people noticing or thinking, oh, that person's got a hair system on. And it is a psychological thing for you. You're worried about, oh, if someone noticed that I've got it on, but really, in reality, no one knows you've got it on. And it's just that mental battle that you've got when you first have it put on, that you just got to make sure, just accept that it's normal and no one's going to really notice, unless obviously you come in from being completely bald.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And a little of my input on that is that the confidence that you bring to that conversation is hugely important. If someone says, oh, like, your hair looks great, what did you do? And you're like, well, just kind of, I don't know, I did this thing, and like, you're all sheepish and you're afraid to tell somebody, it makes it weird.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, well, there's this really cool technology that's been like developing for the past couple of years. It's really innovative, and it's completely changing the way that men feel about themselves. Like, it sounds cool, hip, innovative, and you're like, yeah, and this thing it's a hair system, and basically what it is it's a base with human hair that lasts X months, but is really designed perfectly for me to be unique to me.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh crap, that's really awesome. And they feel your confidence, one, but they also see that you took action to improve yourself, number two. And number three, you also give the gift that keeps on giving, because they feel, one, your confidence, and two, the result that you have now. And therefore, they're going to tell people, other people that are suffering from, hair loss. They'll probably say, well, I actually once knew this guy, or I'm friends with this guy, and he did this thing, and it turned out really amazing. Like, maybe you should talk with him, or interact with them.
Right.
And you completely, start changing and creating a culture around it just by being confident. And I think it's really important. I hope people on the channel start to take that away, that you can be secretive. You don't have to tell everybody about it. You shouldn't even need to, but you can change lives when you do. You
totally.
can really
and
change
it's totally
lives.
your choice, isn't it? I'm picking up on the cultural point you said before. It's much more acceptable in kind of the modern world to do what you want with yourself in terms of hair color, hair length, hairstyle. Sure. Women get hair extensions all the time. As far as I'm concerned, this is my hair extension. This is, and if the next system, I want it a bit longer, or I want to do something different with it, or I want to change it up and have a completely different look because I've never been able to do that before, I can do that. And if I don't like it, I can just change it. It's like the freedom that it gives you is really valuable. And obviously this is important for people. It's not necessarily cheap as an option. It's not necessarily something that you should go in without researching and doing some digging and finding out if it's right for you. But if you come to the conclusion that it is right for you and you're willing to invest that time and that money and that energy in it, that's the payback you get. And to help people as well on top of that is just another really good bonus. Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. What type of you said you're poly all around, you're using a glue and a tape mix. What density is your hair?
It's 100%.
Cool.
So you can kind of see, what I like about it is that you can see my scalp through. So when I'm playing with it or mucking around with it, it just looks like my natural hair. My concern was when I first got it was that it was going to be too dense. And when it was first put on, I was just like, wow, this is like, I feel like Beyonce, like it's huge. It didn't look like that, but I felt like it was because I'd not had any hair at all really on my head. But as I've worn it and as I've conditioned it and worked with it and just looked after it, it kind of settles down and it just feels right. So the density is 100%. I did think maybe I could go down to 80%, but because of my age, but I think I'm kind of happy with this at the moment. And should things change and maybe the density on the sides of my hair changes, then I'll look at that again.
Sure. Good stuff. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with? Any thoughts, any words of wisdom, any sage advice?
Just do your research and don't be afraid to reach out to people. Like when I first started watching your videos, Jake, it was great because there was a handful of people that were putting themselves out there, that were kind of opening their souls and all of their insecurities out for everyone to see. And that's really valuable for a community. And there's thousands of people that are in our situation all across the world. And if what we can do and what anyone can do by just saying, look, this is what we've done and this is work for us, it's great. Just reach out to people, talk to them and engage with that community, because everyone's here to help each other and everyone wants to see everyone happy. And, it's great what you do.
That's amazing. That's a great tip. Yeah. And anybody out there that's watching to this point, if you want to share your journey, please just reach out to me. I pretty much everybody that wants to be on the channel, I'm like, absolutely, let's do this thing. And then we schedule a time and we talk on the channel, and it helps so many people. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So 100% agree with you. James, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to everybody who's watched this entire thing. I hope you got some value out of it. I know you got some value out of it. James has a great experience, and I know there's more people out there like him that are going through similar things. So please, everybody, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell below to make sure that you see all the videos when they come out. Upload those puppies every other day. And we will see you soon.